Technology. What can you do with it? What can you do without it? So, today is all about, and I'm going to move me. There we go. I want my delightful face right in the center here. I think this is going to work. I'm going to try it. All right. Today is all about informative speaking, and I want to present my informative speech. Then I'm going, and you can see it in the background here, then I'm going to go over the outline that I'm using. For this assignment, you need to, sorry, I'll make it work to my satisfaction. There we go. I'm going to uh, present my speech, and then I'm going to go over the outline. So, as I was about to say, you need not only to do a speech, and I will send you all the parameters, the target time, and the rubric and all this. Today, I'm just demonstrating. All right, so after I'm done, I'm going to try to make my image go away, and then we'll look at at the outline itself. It's critical that you do an outline. I'm going to post an outline template as I have before. You're welcome to use it. I highly recommend that you use it. Just makes things much easier. So let me see how I can proceed myself here. All right. So, oh, by the way, does anyone notice anything different? Well, I combed my mustache. So, but I have new glasses. I'm finally done with all my eye surgeries, my cataracts, all those things, and I got brand new glasses. How exciting. So, let's see how they work. Well, hello, my name is Ray Shabinsky, and I want to tell you about an amazing discovery. It happened back on August 17th, 2017, at a very strange observatory in Louisiana. I'm going to start over hoping that my computer will stop posting all these ads for me. All right. Hello, my name is Ray Shabinsky, and today I want to tell you about an amazing discovery. It happened on August 17th, 2017, in Louisiana at a very strange observatory that has no telescope. It's just a big antenna that listens into space. And what they heard were ripples in the space-time continuum. It was just an amazing discovery. They're called gravitational waves. And I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. Now, the reason I'm giving this talk, well, there's a couple of them actually, is one, I've been teaching and writing about astronomy for many years, but this talk is actually about gold. And I'm going to tell you where gold comes from today. All right, so the gold we wear and all the gold on Earth was formed by the cataclysmic death of supermassive stars colliding, and in this case, billions of years ago. And that's exactly what was heard in Louisiana at that strange observatory back in 2017, was the shock waves from one of these collisions. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to talk about what ancient people thought of gold. I'm going to talk a little bit about how much gold there is, and then how we discovered the cosmic origins of gold. So today I'm going to answer these questions and explain why the true nature of gold is far more interesting than its monetary value. Now, according to the book Gold, Nature and Culture, humans probably discovered gold about 7 or 8,000 years ago. Perhaps somebody was walking along a stream and saw a little bit of shiny stuff in the water and thought, well, that looks nice. The problem was, of course, is that pure gold is not very useful. It's very, very soft. And so for a long time, it was only used for ornaments. The oldest bead that we know of, according to Gold, Nature and Culture, is about 6,500 years old. Gold coins came along about 1,000 years later or more. But gold itself was never used for anything but ceremonial purposes for a very long time. And of course, the most famous gold work in the world is that fabulous golden mask of King Tutankhamun 3,500 years ago. And why would the pharaoh want gold? Well, it's because the ancients believed that gold was immortal because it never changes. All right, so ancient people thought gold was immortal and it was fit for the gods because gold doesn't tarnish, doesn't rust like other metals. For example, silver turns black, copper goes green, but gold never changes. It's immortal. So, how much gold is there out there? Well, according to Barron's financial report in 2016, at that time, they estimated that there's 166,000 metric tons of this gold stuff out there. And that at that time, 2016, it was worth almost $9 trillion. That's a lot of gold. But when you think about it this way, a cube of gold, if you took all that gold and made a big cube out of it, it would only be about 70 feet on a side. It'd be very dense. Uh, if you melted it all down, you could just about fill 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So not a whole lot of gold. Doesn't sound like it. And so 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, people started thinking about how to make their own gold. These people were called alchemists. So we have known for a long time uh, that uh, there's not a whole lot of gold. And it was later that alchemists began trying to make their own gold. Well, they weren't very successful, to say the least. But finally, in the 20th century, we began to understand the science of gold a little bit more. For example, now we know that gold is element number 79 on the periodic table. It's bright and shiny, it's very dense. But what makes it immortal? Well, it turns out that gold does not react with oxygen, and that's why it never tarnishes or rusts. According to The Magic Furnace by Marcus Cowan, gold is created in the cores of massive stars, very much bigger than the sun. In fact, it's a complicated process. When two very massive stars explode, then there's so much energy created that all the heavy elements, such as silver, iron, platinum, and yes, gold, are created. So, how did we get the gold here? How did it get on Earth? Well, astronomers think that about 5 billion years ago, two massive stars collided in what's now the area of the galaxy we call the solar system. When all these heavy elements, including gold, were created in that massive explosion, they seeded the cosmic cloud that eventually became our solar system and the Earth. And that's why we have gold here on Earth today. So we know that gold is an incredible element. It was formed in the heart of supermassive stars, spread through space in a cataclysmic explosion, becoming part of planets like the Earth. So today I've talked about gold as being fascinating stuff, that ancient people weren't sure at all what the origins of gold were, but they thought it was immortal because it never changed. Alchemists tried to make more gold because there's not a whole lot of gold around. And then the story of gold becomes a whole lot more interesting when we discover its true cosmic origin. So today, gold pervades our lives in so many different ways. Ancient people worshipped gold as immortal and as a gift from the gods. They weren't too far off, were they? Gold has a cosmic connection that helps bind us to the stars. And the next time you look at your gold ring or think about that gold chain around your neck, remember, they're truly a gift from the stars. Thank you very much. Now then, On your outline, you're also going to have references. Yes, you need references. But before I even show you any of that, I need to tell you that normally in class, if we were in a classroom, I would present this presentation, this speech, with the aid of slides. I use PowerPoint. You can use Prezi. You can use Google Slides. There's a number of choices for doing that. But you need to know that you're not required to do that. So I did the speech without my slides, which I find hard because I've done it for so long with slides. I find it even more difficult to do without them. But that's all right. So you're not required to use any slides. Uh, there is a chapter that I'm going to go over here in this part of the semester about using media. But again, I want you to be aware of it, but you're not going to have to do it. But you do need to have an outline. So I'm going to try here to go, let's see, I'm going to do this. Here we go. And there we go. Now, here's my outline. This is exactly what I had in my hands. Now, look at the top of this outline, and I'm going to present another lecture just on what's at the top of this outline. Once again, the template of the outline that I'm going to give you, the outline template, will have all this for you so that you know exactly what you're doing. Don't worry about this right now. The type of speech, concept, pattern, topical. I'll come back to that later. But my topic, obviously, was the origins of gold. And then, as you look at this, I have a specific purpose. What am I trying to accomplish in this speech? And I wrote it out as a single sentence. And once again, I'm going to give another more detailed lecture. This was in the lecture on chapter 13, informative speaking, but I'm going to go into more detail. You need to have a specific purpose. What was mine? I want my audience to know how gold is formed by the destruction of supermassive stars and why it's so special. I don't actually say that word for word in the speech. This is what I want to accomplish in the speech. If you don't know what you want to accomplish in your speech, you're just going to wander all over the place. And of course, you're not really going to know if you accomplished it or not. But here we go. I do have a thesis statement. And I think I did use the thesis statement. Sometimes I change things around as I give these speeches. But here's my thesis statement. And you're all familiar with the idea of a thesis. If you've ever written a term paper, and I bet you all have, you have to have a thesis at the beginning of the term paper. It's a preview of what you're going to be writing about or talking about. So here's my thesis statement. The gold we wear and all the gold on Earth was formed by the cataclysmic death of supermassive stars billions of years ago. All right, so that I actually use in my speech. All right, here I am. Now then, this is the speech itself, the introduction. All right, so I said my name. Hi, I'm Ray Shabinsky. And then again, look, I'm not writing everything out word for word. I'm just using bullet points mainly to remind myself of where I am in the speech. So, an amazing discovery. I did use the date. Shock waves. I talked about that and about this strange observatory. My credibility. I said that I teach and write about astronomy and that I like gold. Okay, so just straightforward and simple. All right, now, again, I'm in the introduction of the speech, establish my credibility, why I'm giving. This basically says, why am I giving the speech? If you don't provide some kind of credibility, we don't really know why you want to give the speech that you're giving. So you've got to make some kind of credibility statement. And then I looked down at my outline and I read my thesis statement so I'd get it exactly the way I wrote it. It's all right to look down at your outline periodically to remind yourself where you are, but it's very important that you don't read from a lot of text. Otherwise, your eyes are just glued to a piece of paper and you're not contacting with the audience. All right, then I previewed my main points, and basically I read those too. And then I have a transition statement. It's telling everybody that I'm about to move on. Today I'm going to answer these questions. Okay, again, this isn't brain surgery. Just say something, a single sentence that tells the audience that you're moving on, in this case, to the body of the speech. Now, this is very important. In your informative speech, you must have 3 references that you say out loud. Got it? 3 references that you say out loud. And so I did. I said, according to the book, Gold, Nature and Culture. And then I have a little bit of information to remind me of what I want to say in the speech. Again, the business about the ancient bead, jewelry, King Tut, and the fact that ancient people thought gold was immortal. I don't have this all written out. I just have bullet points. So this is my first main point. Yes, my first main point. My statement about what I'm going to do in the first main point, and then being A, B, C. Now, you don't have to have 3 subpoints, but you should have at least 2. If you only have 1 subpoint, you're not developing your thoughts well enough. I typically use 3 just because, it's easy. A, B, C. There you go. So I hit those 3 main points, and then I have a transition statement. And I pretty much read the transition statement. Then I moved on to my second main point. And once again, I used a reference. I said it out loud. How much gold is there? According to Barron's financial report, I said it, 2016. And then I gave these interesting facts about how much gold there is and the fact that alchemists tried to make their own gold but didn't do a very good job. All right. So then I have another transition statement. I'm moving on here. And I came pretty close to reading this, that science told us what gold is all about. So there was my third main point, the science of gold and how it came to be a part of the story. All right. And then I had A, B, and C again. And once again, I cited this book. In the book, The Magic Furnace by Marcus Cowan. Okay, I told you exactly where this information is coming from. And then I talked about exploding stars. Another transition statement. Notice that there's a transition statement after the introduction that moves us into the body of the speech. And then I have a short transition statement between each main point. Again, this will be posted in the files. You can go back and look at my outline to see how I did that. So then I had another transition statement, and I moved into the conclusion. I'm restating my thesis again. Gold is fascinating stuff. Now, I didn't restate it exactly the way I stated it in the opening of my speech. You can do that if you want. You can just reuse your thesis statement, but I changed it a little bit because I'm wrapping things up now. And then I reviewed the 3 main points: ancient people, not much gold, and then where gold actually comes from. And then I have a final thought. Aha, yes, and I did pretty much read this, but if you watch the video again, you can see that I practiced enough that I don't have to keep my eyes on the paper completely. I can read it and look up a little bit. So there's my final thought. And yes, say thank you or something so that we know you are done. And now the references. This is what you need at the bottom of your outline. You need to show me that you've done some research, and you must have at least 5 references. I have 6 here. As long as you have 5, you're fine. Of those 5, you need to say 3 of them in your speech. Now, you don't need to do MLA. Is that right? MLA referencing format. Just tell me where the stuff comes from. The gravitational waves that I uh, uh, mentioned at the very beginning. Astronomy Magazine, November 27th, or excuse me, 2017. All right, in the title of the article. That's enough. And then I had to do this. Astronomy Magazine, November 2020. Yeah, in the November issue last year, I actually had a full blown story on gold from the stars. All right, so yeah, I used my own stuff. There's Magic, excuse me, Cowan. Marcus Cowan, the Magic Furnace. I'll get it straight here. Uh, I referenced that specifically in my speech. So let's see. I've got Marcus Cowan. There it is. And there's Gold, Nature, and Culture. I said that out loud in the speech, and Barron's Financial Report. Now, I'm if you get it from a book. Let's see. I didn't have the date for this one for some reason, but I said, the name of the publishing company. This one came from Oxford Press. I used this in my research. I didn't mention it in the speech. Uh, Simon Winchester's The Perfectionist, and Harper Books. Oh, that's actually supposed to say 2018. I don't know what happened to the 8 there. Uh, if it's an online source, look what I did. Barron's Financial Report, 2016, online source. This is all you need to do. You cannot copy and paste a web address, however. I will not give you credit for that. It must be real information like this. I'm not going to go check on web references. I don't have the time and I don't want to do it. But you need to do it at least in this format as a real reference. All right. So, again, you can look at this, and I'm going to do a little bit more in another presentation. So here I am again. I think I made this thing work. All right. So, uh, this is my example of a an informative speech, and I will again provide more information. I'm going to put all kinds of things in the file for you, the template, my outline as well, and then I'm going to do some other. I always say short, short for me, uh, lectures on specific purpose, thesis, and a little bit more information on how to actually put this together. I do hope this was helpful. And, as always, if you have questions, just email me. So there we go. Thank you very much for listening. And I will talk to you later.